Okay, think about this for a second. Your car, it's probably parked somewhere right now, right?
Most likely, yeah.
And chances are it spends, what, 20, maybe even 22 hours a day
Yeah,
just sitting there.
exactly. Doing nothing.
All that idle time.
Yeah.
So here's an interesting thought we're diving into today. What if those quiet hours could actually, earn you some money?
Yeah. We're looking at car sharing. It's part of this whole gig economy thing, and it seems like a pretty straightforward way to potentially make some decent side income.
Right. And if you're listening because you want the insights, like fast and thorough, but without feeling totally overwhelmed, you're definitely in the right place for this deep dive.
Absolutely. We're digging into how we're starting to see our stuff differently. Not just things that cost us money, but things that could make us money.
Possessions as assets.
Precisely. So our mission today is pretty clear. Let's really get to grips with this car sharing trend. Why is it growing? What are the actual plus sides? And crucially for you listening, how might you actually get involved?
We've gone through the details, the sort of how-to stuff from our sources, so you get the essentials.
Yep. Laid it all out.
Okay, so first up, this growing trend. It really is a shift in how we think, isn't it?
It really is.
For ages, a car was just a money pit. Insurance, gas,
Yeah.
repairs, just a liability, basically.
Always something.
But now, people are starting to see it as, well, a potential earner. And this is where it gets interesting. These platforms, like Turo, people call it the Airbnb for cars,
Heard that one a lot.
and Getaround, they've really pushed this forward too. They're like these online marketplaces connecting car owners with people who just need a car for a bit.
And it taps into a real need, especially in cities.
Right?
I mean, think about it. Lots of city folks don't need a car every single day. Commuting might be by public transport or bike. But then, weekends away, big shopping trips, visiting relatives. Suddenly, having a car is super useful. These platforms just fill that gap perfectly.
It makes so much sense.
And it ties into that bigger picture, the gig economy. It's blurring the lines, isn't it? Your personal stuff, your spare room, your car, it's all potentially part of how you earn now. Cars are just a really clear example of this whole shift.
Totally. So practically speaking, what are the upsides for someone thinking about this? The article we look at really highlighted a few key things. First one, easy money.
Always appealing.
Who doesn't like the sound of that? I mean, earning potentially hundreds of dollars a month just because your car is being used instead of sitting idle. That's pretty tempting.
Definitely.
And it mentioned that certain cars, the flashier ones, luxury sports cars, even EVs now, they can often pull in a bit more, especially if you're in a place where lots of people are looking to rent.
That location and car type point is crucial. One source mentioned, for example, that a well-kept electric car in a busy city could potentially bring in over $500 a month if it's rented out consistently.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's not just the cash, there's also the flexibility. This isn't like taking on a fixed hours job.
No commitment, really.
Exactly. You decide when your car's up for grabs, fits around your schedule, going on holiday, perfect time to list it.
Don't use it Monday to Friday.
List it then. It slots into your life, which is, a massive plus for a lot of people.
And then there's the impact on those car costs we all hate paying.
Yes.
The income you make can seriously help offset those things. Insurance, maintenance, fuel, even parking fees.
It all adds up.
And the article suggested, in some cases, you could actually cover your entire monthly car payment. Imagine that.
That's a huge deal for managing your budget, a real game changer, potentially.
Evidently.
And thinking bigger picture for a second, there's also an environmental angle here, too.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, car sharing fundamentally means we're using the cars we already have more efficiently. If more people share, maybe there's less need to manufacture quite so many new cars down the line.
Less manufacturing impact.
Right. And maybe, just maybe, it could even help ease traffic a bit in cities if fewer people feel they absolutely need to own a car individually. It kind of opens up questions about greener city transport, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so let's say someone listening is thinking, all right, I'm intrigued. How do I actually do this?
Good question. The practical steps.
Yeah. The sources break it down pretty logically. First big step, choose the right platform. Turo and Getaround keep coming up as the main ones.
They seem to be the leaders, yeah.
Sounds like you need to do a little homework first, though. Check out their fees, really understand their insurance options, maybe even see how many people are actually renting cars in your specific area.
That initial research is super important. They're not all identical. Each platform has its own way of doing things, its own costs. Knowing the differences helps you pick the one that fits you best.
Makes sense.
Once you've picked one, then it's about getting your car ready, which is just common sense, really. Renters expect a decent experience.
Like getting ready for guests?
Pretty much. Keep it clean, make sure it's well-maintained, everything working properly. These are basics, non-negotiables.
Yeah, you don't want complaints. The article even suggested little extras, like having phone chargers available, maybe a basic first aid kit.
Thoughtful touches.
And making the pickup and drop-off instructions really clear just smooths the whole process out.
Absolutely. Think like a renter. A good, easy experience means good reviews. And good reviews mean more bookings down the road. It builds trust.
Okay, good point.
Yeah.
Then comes pricing. Setting the right price.
Oh, yeah. The balancing act.
Exactly. You want it low enough to attract people, get those bookings coming in, but high enough to actually make it worth your while, right?
Maximize the earnings. Apparently, the platforms themselves often give you suggested prices based on your car, location, time of year, stuff like that.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah, it seems like a good starting point. You can probably tweak it from there based on how things are going.
Now, something I bet is on people's minds. Insurance. What if someone crashes my car? Or damages it?
Totally valid concern. A big one.
Yeah. But the good news, based on what we read, is that most of these big platforms do provide insurance. It usually covers things like damage to your car, liability if there's an accident.
Peace of mind is key.
But, and this seems really important, you absolutely have to read the fine print, understand exactly what that platform's insurance covers, what the deductible is, any limitations. Don't just assume.
Couldn't agree more. Do your homework on the insurance. It's crucial. And finally, the sources really stressed communication.
How you talk to renters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being quick to respond to questions, giving clear instructions, just being generally polite and professional. It all builds that good reputation.
Those positive reviews again.
Exactly. They're like gold in these kinds of peer-to-peer setups.
Okay, so that's the now. What about the future? Where's car sharing headed?
Well, the outlook seems pretty positive, according to the analysis. The gig economy isn't slowing down, so the thinking is demand for flexible transport like this will likely keep growing.
Makes sense.
And there's a generational thing, too. Millennials, Gen Z, they seem much more open to sharing models, less attached to the idea of owning a car outright compared to older generations.
Access over ownership again.
Precisely. They grew up with sharing economies, so it feels natural. And one really interesting point was about electric vehicles.
Ah, the EV angle.
Yeah. As EVs get more common, renting them out could become a really profitable little niche, tapping into that demand for greener options.
Huh. And the article even mentioned people getting strategic, maybe investing in specific vehicles, like luxury cars or even RVs.
Yeah, targeting specific demands like weekend adventures needing an RV or someone wanting a fancy car for a special occasion. There's definitely an entrepreneurial angle emerging.
Wow. So it could become quite specialized.
Potentially. And some experts are even predicting, maybe boldly, that traditional car ownership might actually become less common overall as sharing just gets easier and more efficient.
That's a massive shift to think about.
It really is. It makes you rethink the whole life cycle of a car, doesn't it? From just being a depreciating cost to maybe being a consistent earner.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The main takeaway here seems to be that renting out your car isn't just some weird side thing anymore.
Not at all.
It's actually a pretty smart way to make money from something that, let's be honest, most of us aren't using most of the time.
Capitalizing on an underused asset and getting started doesn't seem too complicated.
Right, the barrier to entry feels relatively low. And it's flexible, you do it when it suits you. Great for boosting income without locking yourself into something rigid.
And remember, it's not just for people with fancy cars.
Good point. The sources made that clear. Your regular sedan, your hatchback. There's likely a market for it somewhere in this car-sharing world.
Absolutely.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. Next time you see your car just sitting there, parked, think about it. What's its untapped potential? Could this be something for you? How do you fit into this changing gig economy picture?
Definitely something to chew on. Maybe worth checking out those platforms we mentioned, just to see what's involved.
Yeah. Explore the possibilities.
Yeah.